$5.30 for Jeff. Get two numbers.
We figured if we put the cars on wherever that car gets poured up there,
King of history, the king of
drag racing, 30 days can be an eternity. A month ago in Stanton, Michigan, reigning IHRA Top Fuel champion Paul Romine faced a moment of truth as he pulled into the lights against the long green machine of Tommy Johnson Jr. The task for Romine, beat Johnson, the season-long Top Fuel Eliminator points leader, or face a difficult uphill fight to defend his world championship. Each driver with 6,000 horsepower to bring to bear in a 4-second fight. Win, and you advance to fight again. Lose, and you go home. From the cockpit, Romine could see that he had been outdriven by Johnson. For Paul Romine, it was time to regroup. Today is a new day and a new race, but the time is growing short. Crew Chief Clayton Harris has the car ready, but it is up to Paul Romine to drive up to his ability or face the possibility of losing his title. Welcome to a Midwestern mecca of the sport of drag racing, Norwalk Raceway Park in Norwalk, Ohio, site of the IHRA Prolonged Super Lubricants Ohio Lottery World Nationals presented by Ethanol. Welcome everyone, I'm Bob Varsha. A very hot and humid day here in north central Ohio, not far from the shores of Lake Erie. But we have great championship battles in store. Beginning in the quarterfinals of Top Fuel, there is rookie Top Fuel driver Don Lampus from Garland, Texas, going up against Tommy Johnson Jr., the points leader, who only qualified number 5 in this 8-car field, but he feels he has something up his sleeve for his opposition.
The confidence level isn't as high as it has been in the past. We've struggled a little bit in qualifying, made some good runs, but not what I think the car should run, and we've had a little problem hitting the tune-up for this track, but confident that we got it figured out now. We had a couple problems and we found those, so just go out and do our best and see what the outcome comes.
With me, as always, Ted Jones. Brett Kepner is down in the pit area, and he'll be traveling down to the big end to interview our winners. Tommy Johnson Jr. simply dominated the early part of this season, Ted.
Tommy Johnson Jr. has a chance to get a leg up right here. Now, for Don Lampus, this is just another drag race. He came here to win, yes, certainly. But Tommy Johnson Jr. is looking well beyond this round with Don Lampus. If he wins this round, and if Romine defeats Ostrander, they'll meet in the semifinals.
Part of the first ever all sub-5-second 8-car field in IHRA history.
15 entries in Top Fuel. 7 guys did not make the show.
Slide start line advantage for Don Lampus, and Tommy Johnson Jr. is out in the first round.
Identical ETs, both of them ran a 4.81. Lampus with about a 16,000th head start on the starting line put Johnson out.
Boy, over in the staging lanes, you know Paul Romine is just loving that situation. But now here come the snap-on team cars of 4-time world champ Doug Herbert and Jim Bailey, who was in the B car but out-qualified the boss, number 3 to number 6. For his part, Doug Herbert, who missed the last round in Michigan, has come loaded for bear.
Yeah, I guess we still got a chance. I mean, we kind of folded, I guess, when we didn't go to the last race, basically. But, hey, we're going to come out here, and I'm going to show them why I was a 4-time world champion. We're going to win this race, and we're going to whip these guys. They have no idea who they're dealing with.
They have no idea who they're dealing with. Big talk. Let's see if he can cash the check when the time comes as he rolls into the lights against his teammate, Jim Bailey.
And teammate is the word, Bob. That's the key here. The only thing would be better for Doug Herbert is to face his teammate in the final. You're third in points. You need the points. Guess what? He's probably told Bailey. We don't know for sure. They may race. But if I were Doug Herbert, I'd tell Bailey to lose.
That would be basically an automatic advance to the next round for Doug Herbert. Well, Bailey either fell asleep or listened closely to his team chief. Herbert rockets away to win.
Take a look, 475, 305 miles per hour. He makes a statement. He hopes that everybody's watching that one.
Sorry I ever doubted you, Doug. As we move on to our next pair, David Bieneman from Royal Oak, Michigan, going up against Danny Dunn from Hudson, North Carolina.
Hey, let's not sell Danny Dunn short either. You know, that guy came in here, qualified number 2. Oh, a whole shot for David Bieneman. 401, 400 would be perfect. He had to take a shot on the tree, and look at the ET, 491. This guy's for real.
So he follows up Herbert's performances with one of his own, 1/1000th of a second off a perfect light. Now here comes the defending race winner, Paul Romine, who knows what he has to do.
We've got to make a move. Last year at this time, we made a move. So, we're kind of got that ball rolling. We qualified well. As I said, it's a prolonged race. We've got to do well here. It's going to come down to a real close race. We just don't want it to come down to the last race. We want to try to get in control of this thing. We've just got to get in control of it. I mean, this is like steering your own boat, and it's not much fun when somebody else is steering it. And I don't want him wagging me around. We gotta take control of this thing today.
Well, now we'll find out if the CarQuest car is up to the task as he rolls into the lights against dangerous Jack Ostrander.
Yes, Ostrander could upset him, but Romine did come in here and qualified number 1 with an unreal 472. You're on board. You see the smoke from the tires, and then the oil covered the camera lens. That would normally be bad news for Paul Romine, but Ostrander broke also. Paul Romine sitting there in shock right now, ran a 742, and he's in the semifinal.
Man, what a driving job by Paul Romine. By virtue of the quicker ETs, Don Lampus and Doug Herbert will have lane choice in their semifinal round matchups with Romine and Bieneman, respectively. What an opener to the World Nationals here at Norwalk. We'll take a break and be right back.
This is Norwalk The line's moving, 654 at 206. Tires got loose there in the middle of the racetrack. Knowing the way the clutches are set up, the racetrack might be getting...
Welcome back to Norwalk Raceway Park and the IHRA World Nationals. More quarterfinal action in our pro classes coming up. Let's take this opportunity to say hello and welcome, everyone. I'm Bob Barsha, along with ESPN drag racing analyst Ted Jones. Ted, in that first round of Top Fuel, both Tommy Johnson Jr. and Paul Romine needed points. Romine got them. Tommy did not.
No, and Tommy really needed them. Now, he took command early this year, winning the first couple of IHRA events. Then he began to stumble. On the other hand, Paul Romine, it seems like, could do nothing right. As a matter of fact, he almost blew this previous round against Jack Ostrander when Ostrander lifted the blower and saved Romine. Now, all Romine has to do is get to the finals to take the points lead.
And then he'll have to keep working because Tommy Johnson Jr.'s team has announced new sponsorship this weekend. He'll be there the rest of the way. Top Fuel is a long way from over. Let's get back to the track. Now rolling into the lights, Mountain Motored Pro Stocks. Chris Holbrook, the number 2 qualifier, against Steve Spiess, the number 7 qualifier.
Chris Holbrook won this event in 1995. No, not in Pro Stock. In Top Sportsman, then set the mile-per-hour record, picked up the ET record up in Michigan, and guess what? He's on a roll right now. He defeated Doug Kirk in round 1, picks up this win with a 678.
To our next pair, there is Pete Berner from Crete, Illinois, with 814 cubic inches of Chevy power in the far lane, just 802 under the hood of number 1 qualifier Ron Miller.
From number 16 qualifier last year, all the way to the top for Ron Miller, the Mosier Engineering car. He's worked hard for this one. 685. He'll go into the semifinals.
That was a Chevy battle. Here is Oldsmobile and Ford. Tony Gillick, who is in the midst of the championship points fight, going up against Dan Seaman.
Couldn't be much more equal. The number 3 and 6 qualifiers. They both qualified with a 679. Side by side all the way down. They both run 681. Gillick wins it with a whole shot by 1,000th of a second.
And there's the crew, including Mom Roseanne and Father Bob. We met them earlier this year on ESPN2. Let's take another look now from on board Tony's Olds.
You'll notice when he launches, watch the front end of the car come up right there. He feels about 3 Gs right off the starting line, quickly through the gears. By the halfway point, he's in high gear and charging down to the finish line.
There might have been a little fist bump. You bet. Tony Gillig, he's as excited as the crew, and why not? Now to our final pair. In the near lane, John Montecalvo from Santa Maria, New York, against Angelo Alessi from Cleveland, Ohio.
And Montecalvo set down the world champion Floyd Chink in round number 1, so he's hot and the hard man to beat. But here comes that Montecalvo on Alessi. Yeah, he did it with a 681, 203 miles per hour.
So in the semifinals, Alessi and Holbrook will have lane choice as they meet Miller and Gillig, respectively. Plenty of great racing still to come from one of the greatest drag strips in all the sport, including a one-of-a-kind customer service area. Idea borrowed from a theme park. Bill Bader misses nothing.
You're watching Inside Drag Racing this week, coming to you from the Ohio Lottery Prolonged Super Lubricants World Nationals, where the International Hot Rod Association and Mopar Parts Division of Chrysler Corporation just concluded a press conference in this IHRA tent with some shocking news. News number one, the IHRA has a new sponsor for this event next year, Mopar Parts, and for the event down in Shreveport, Louisiana, the World Finals. But the big news came in the Pro Modified ranks, where Mopar Parts will be paying out a purse of $50,000 for a Pro Modified shootout in 1999. As a matter of fact, it might even be $100,000 if the competitor is running a Mopar engine. Now, the big news is the shootout, because now the Hemi head is legal. The B1 head was always legal, but now the Hemi, but you put a special handicap on it.
Well, what we did was take a look at the Chrysler Hemi engine and try to level the playing field. Chrysler doesn't want any advantage. They don't want to be at a disadvantage. They're just looking for a level playing field. That's our job, to give them a level playing field. So we will utilize that engine configuration in such a format that they can win with it if they're a good driver and they do their homework well and they tune the engine right, or perhaps they'll finish second or third.
The Hemi head is handicapped. That speaks pretty highly of it, doesn't it?
Well, as you know, and the listeners know, the Hemi has been around for many years in different configurations, but pretty much every world drag racing record for top speeds from 150 up has been set with a Chrysler-designed Hemi. So we're really excited about bringing the Hemi into the Pro Mod shootout. And as Bill said, you know, we're not looking for any competitive advantage. We want to not only make sure that the Hemi has a level playing field, but also the racers who race with the other configuration with a normally aspirated engine have a Mopar engine to race also. And we're going to have a cylinder head ready and available for them to race also. So the racers can use either a supercharged application or a normally aspirated Mopar. So we think that the playing field will be level either direction. And as he said, the sanctioning body's job is to make sure the competition is even for everyone. And we agree with that.
Now, the sanctioning body has stated it has to be an iron head and an iron block. That means no KB.
Yeah, the KB block in this case will not be used for the Pro Mod shootout.
And you thought some of the best factory wars were in pro stock? Stay tuned, gang, because you ain't seen nothing yet.
Welcome back to Norwalk Raceway Park, the most spectator and competitor-friendly facility in all of drag racing. We'll have more on this beautiful layout later in the show. But this weekend, it has also been the scene of some major announcements concerning the IHRA and its competitors. With more on that, here's Brett Kepner.
The 1998 IHRA World Nationals here at Norwalk came complete with one of the single biggest announcements in IHRA history. It was an announcement made between Bill Bader, the president of the IHRA and owner of Norwalk Raceway Park, and Lou Patain, a longtime top fuel racer and current head of Mopar Motorsports. Now, the new Mopar announcement included sponsorship agreements for two different national events, one of them being the 1999 IHRA World Nationals here at Norwalk, the other one being the 99 World Finals in Shreveport, Louisiana. But there was another program that made even bigger waves. It was the announcement of a brand new Pro Modified shootout program sponsored by Mopar for 1999 that includes a $20,000 to win prize and a $50,000 purse. There's only one catch. Until now, the Mopar Hemi engine had never been legal in Pro Modified. Now it is. The word has gone through the pits like wildfire, and we talked to some of the single most significant representatives of Pro Modified to once again hear their heated opinions.
The way I see the whole egg in a nutshell, the Hemi is in, I welcome them, and I hope Mopar comes in and helps us and does a big deal like they say they're going to do. But the only reason I feel that they're not going to let the Hemis run at the overdrive we're running at is to keep the crybabies on the nitrous side from thinking there's going to be more blower cars out here running. It's not because of the blown cars. I mean, we welcome them. And if, the question's been asked to me, are you going to buy a Hemi? No. I think it's wrong to bring them into class and put a handicap on them before they ever get here. That's the way I feel about it.
How bad do you think it will change this class?
It'll be what Alcohol Funny Car already is. And I hate to say it, but in my point of view to the Alcohol Funny Car, nothing against those guys, but the stands clear out now when they run. And nothing against anybody. I like those guys and all, but you can see the stands fill up when Pro Mods come up, and the crowd dwindles away when Alcohol Funny Car comes up to run. So I don't see where they're getting it. They have all this crowd appeal for a blower car anyway. It's Badernomics. That's what I call it.
It's affected the whole market. You got guys that were interested in building new cars that's not doing so at the moment. You got guys that's interested in new engines that's on hold. You got your engine builders that, builders supplying auto cranks, blocks, and heads for previous or new customers. They're on hold. I mean, it's just a very sad deal for Pro Modified.
Only one driver has ever successfully campaigned a nitrous oxide-injected, normally aspirated Hemi engine in Pro Modified history. His name, Billy Harper, out of Paducah, Kentucky, with his 1968 Plymouth Barracuda. A lot of drivers and mechanics will tell you that they do not believe the normally aspirated Hemi stands a chance against a class that allows the blown version. With supercharged Hemis now legal, it's one step closer to what Bill Bader has already publicly admitted that he wants, and that's much quicker and faster Pro Modifieds. However, for the rest of the teams out there, they have already given Mopar what it wanted, exposure for its product through the visibility offered in these new programs. How did they gain exposure? Obviously, every other Pro Modified driver here has already admitted they are scared to death of the Chrysler Hemi.
All right, thank you, Brett. Nothing like a little controversy to keep the fires burning. Landon Jordan from Mansfield, Texas, goes up against John Bartunek of Pearl River, New York, in a pair of 63 Corvettes.
Glad to see Landon Jordan qualify, a former NMCA champion from down Memphis way, now running the IHRA Trail in Pro Modified, picks up the victory. He stopped Quayne Stott in round 2. Now he stops John Bartunek in the old Ricky Smith Corvette.
Keep an eye on Landon Jordan, number 1 in average reaction time in the season to date. Now to our next pair, that beautiful 57 Chevy Bel Air for Carl Moyer out of Iowa, going up against car builder Tim McAmis in a Vette.
Tim McAmis, one of the first champions in Pro Modified history. Moyer, the Chevrolet dealer, stopped Tommy Mooney in round number 1. Now he stops McAmis.
And that despite McAmis's 4:04 reaction time. Now to our next pair, featuring a man you just heard from, Shannon Jenkins, wearing the number 1 of the champion on the door, going up against Dale Brinsfield.
Shannon Jenkins, the defending world champion, came in here, qualified number 2, ran 219 miles per hour. Look at this pass he's on right now. 649, 215 miles per hour. Look out, Scotty Cannon.
Problems for Brinsfield as we move to our final pair. And in the near lane, the killer Ed Mader, the 53 Studebaker of Scotty Cannon, who did not qualify for this race a year ago. Now he's the only supercharged car still in the field as he goes up against Tommy Gray.
Scotty Cannon qualified number 1 with an earth-shaking 637. Hey, Gray gave him a run for his money. Scotty Cannon 647 to pick up the win.
That's going to make for some great semifinal matchups. And in those semis, lane choice will go to Shannon Jenkins and to Scotty Cannon as they meet Landon Jordan and Carl Moyer. Jordan and Moyer, the 11 and 12 qualifiers. If either goes to the final, that would be an upset in and of itself. We'll take a break, and when we return, our first look at Top Fuel Harleys. Stay with us. Welcome back to the Prolong Super Lubricants Ohio Lottery World Nationals, presented by Ethanol at Norwalk Raceway Park in Ohio. I'm Bob Marshall, along with Ted Jones and Brett Kepner. Here is something new on the IHRA Trail this year: Top Fuel Harley-Davidson motorcycles. 2 or 4 valve engines and the familiar Harley V twin. And these boys rock it. Our first pair, Johnny Mancuso and Jamie Emery.
Look at Jamie Emery leaning to one side. That's the way you have to steer these Harleys. Johnny Mancuso, the number 1 qualifier, will move very easily with a 675. That's incredible. He ran a 671 in qualifying.
On to our next pair, both men in the championship hunt, Bob Spina and Ray Price.
Ray Price, the old man of the sport, 61 years old, won the event in Michigan, has problems here. Bob Spina, 674. Better is Mancuso's time. He only qualified number 4, but he's alive and well.
And he carried that front wheel virtually the entire quarter mile. Now to Bill Furr and Alan Peterson.
Bill Furr, the number 2 qualifier, threatening Mancuso's points lead. Look at both front wheels off the ground. That's why you have to steer these things with body English. Incredibly close race. Give it to Bill Furr. 685 with a nice 469 reaction time.
There is no minimum weight to these machines. There is a 175 cubic inch displacement limit. Nobody running that big a motor here. All injected nitromethane as Jim McClure and Jay Turner lead.
A pair of Southerners, McClure out of Williamsburg, Virginia, dominating this class for the past couple years. It did not run IHRA, of course, picks up the win. He'll move into the semifinals. Who will he face, Bob?
He will go into the semis against Bill Furr in a battle of the engine builders in Top Fuel Harleys. Lane choice will go to McClure in that matchup, and Bob Spina will have lane choice in his matchup with Johnny Mancuso. Now let's move right into the quarterfinals of Alcohol Funny Car. And our first pair, Scott Wise in the near lane, the defending race champion against Wayne Butler.
Scott Wise has everybody mumbling to themselves, has that act, and he boils the hides. Finally figured out how to make too much horsepower. Didn't get the clutch setting right. The 5:74 qualifying time means nothing if you can't hook it up. Congratulations to Wayne Butler. Everybody's glad to see him win.
A little like an unsponsored underdog that knocks off the number 1 qualifier. Now here comes Fred Tigges from Holbrook, Massachusetts against Rich Crone. They beat world champion Jimmy Rector and double event winner Scott Wenny in the first round.
Battle of the upsetters right here. Tigges, no contest at all as Crone had problems. 6:06. What did he make a statement there? Qualified with a 6:02. Slowed down very little.
Now problems right there for Mark Thomas, a world champion. If he can't get it started, Herb Rogers from Ontario is going to have a walkover, and it looks like he will, Ted.
Oh, what a break for Mark Thomas. Came in here qualified number 2, and with Scott Wise down to 2, Thomas had a real shot to make some headway. Well, that's drag racing, folks. Herb Rogers, the Canadian, will move into the semifinals with a 6:18.
And now to our final pair, Von Smith against Jim Late.
Late qualified with a 6:03, as did Von Smith. What a race, Von Smith. 6:04, look at the speed. 233 miles per hour. The former world champ is alive and well.
No question about it, Ted, and he will go to the semifinals with lane choice in his meeting with the upset-minded Wayne Butler. Fred Tigges will have lane choice in his meeting with the Canadian Herb Rogers. Sportsman drag racing on the International Hot Rod Association. We begin with Super Eliminator quarterfinals. Bob Barsha along with Ted Jones. Glad to have you with us. Dan Bandish from Melbourne, Florida. Races Kevin Hamstra from DeMott, Indiana.
This is an example of what it's all about, Bandish, with a nitrous-injected big block. Hamstra with a wheel stand there has to shut off right off the line. The small block Chevrolet blown on alcohol. Give it to Bandish. 6:28, 223 miles per hour, and they call this sportsman racing?
Oh, you ain't seen nothing yet. Here's Terry Monroe from Beaver, Pennsylvania, racing John Long out of Indianapolis, Indiana.
Terry Monroe with that ill-handling, altered car, a 32 Ford Phantom. Look at him go, Monroe, like he's on a set of railroad tracks. 6:20, 222 miles per hour. Sets low ET thus far in the program.
Now to Dave Price, who is perfect thus far this season here on ESPN2. He has yet to lose on national TV, racing Jeff Chatterson.
Price qualified number 3. Say what? That's right, number 3. But he does pick up the win in this round. 6:27, 219 miles per hour.
Now Larry Snyder was unable to make the call, so Scott Ray had a walkover into the semifinals. So here's the way they'll line up. Dave Price and Terry Monroe, by virtue of their quicker ETs, will have lane choice when they meet Scott Ray and Dan Bandish, respectively. Back at Norwalk Raceway Park, veteran crew chief Clayton Harris checks out the launch pad in anticipation of the semifinals of Top Fuel Eliminator. First, here is Drag Review. Ted Jones takes a closer look at Norwalk.
Well, Bob, you named it a few years ago when you called this facility the Garden Spot of Motorsports. I'm talking, of course, about Norwalk Raceway Park. If you've ever visited this facility at one of their magnificent events, you've noticed the beautiful landscaping and people-pleasing amenities offered up by the Baders. Bill Bader bought the International Hot Rod Association earlier this year, and when he did, he turned over the reins of this facility to his son, Bill Bader Jr.
Based on the shoes that I have to fill right now at Norwalk Raceway Park, Dad goes to IHRA. He moves IHRA to Norwalk, Ohio. This is kind of the showcase for the International Hot Rod Association. So not only do I have the pressure of following probably one of the greatest promoters of all time, if not the greatest. But now I also have to be the benchmark by which all of the racetracks are judged, and that will give you some sleepless nights occasionally.
What makes up the Norwalk Raceway Park experience, as it's called? Well, it's fan-friendly, something for the kids, something for the adults, something for everyone at Norwalk Raceway Park. Many shows with packed crowds, not just the ones you see here on ESPN2. You're apt to see anything at Norwalk, from a wedding to custom camping in the campgrounds to motorhome parking. All sorts of amenities and concessions on hand. A lot of emotion displayed at Norwalk Raceway Park, featuring some of the greatest names and biggest stars in the sport of professional drag racing. And it's not just about racing.
We are not in the racetrack business. We are in the entertainment business, and we are vying for the entertainment dollar the same way Disney is, the same way Cedar Point is, and that's who we compare ourselves to. We compare ourselves to the major entertainment venues in the country. People are going to come to Norwalk. Why? We need a hook. We need to make sure that they come here and they're entertained, and they got more than their money's worth. And while they were here, they were treated well. It is about bringing the whole family out here and being entertained, giving them more than their money's worth, and anxious to return.
If you've ever been to Norwalk Raceway Park, you undoubtedly have seen this lady very busy relating to people, because that's what she is. She's a people person. The most experienced of the management team here at NRP is Bill Bader's wife, Debbie Bader.
It doesn't cost a lot of money to be friendly. It doesn't cost a lot of money to train your people to understand why we need to handle folks the way we do. It just takes time. Now I realize that time is money, but it doesn't, you don't have to put up brand new everything. You can paint, there's a lot of little things that you can do. You can plant flowers. You don't have to have a landscaping service come in to do it. If your facility can be warm and friendly, and your people can be warm and friendly, you'll go the distance. I mean, that's how we started out. We didn't start out with a big deal. We were the little track that was a sleeper. And you know, what got us to where we are our folks. I mean, we have an excellent team. They understand why we do what they do. They don't just go through the motions, and I think that's the difference. It gives us an edge.
And now with NRP leading the way and setting the standards by which other tracks are judged, Bill Bader wants the IHRA facilities to all step up. But are they willing?
The track operators that own the various IHRA facilities have already started to clean up, fix up, and paint up. They're proud about the IHRA. They're proud about being a part of it. They feel, I can tell, I have a responsibility to them, and I don't handle that lightly. I feel those track operators are making decisions and investments based on what I do. I know that they are now making those decisions with an eye toward making me proud as well. I think we all feel as a family, as a team, that if they work together with a common goal and follow perhaps some of the examples that we've set at Norwalk, they feel they can emulate this and beat Norwalk, and they're right, they can. I feel that in a lot of our tracks, the markets they're in, the facilities, the environment they have around them, they can exceed what we've built here, and I want that to happen.
You know, when Larry Carrier formed the International Hot Rod Association back in 1970, the model track of that time was the Bristol International Dragway. Now, when Bill Bader moved the IHRA, he has also come up with a new model track. Bigger, better, and more beautiful than ever. This was without question the facility all IHRA tracks will aspire to be. Now, you can keep up with the latest improvements going on at those IHRA tracks by getting Drag Review magazine mailed directly to your home, a part of the membership benefits when you join the IHRA. Call the number on your screen today for more information.
All right, thank you, Ted. We carry on now with the semifinals of Top Fuel, and there is the man under so much pressure right now, the reigning world champion. Needs to go round by round to overhaul Tommy Johnson Jr., the points leader, who is already out of the competition. He is Paul Romine, going up against Top Fuel rookie Don Lampas from Garland, Texas.
Paul Romine came in here qualified number one, but the big news is he brought Roy Hill in this weekend to help him with his driving, and it pays off. A 484 reaction time. Paul Romine puts a gate job on Don Lampas. 481, 283 miles per hour. He's into the final, and boy, did he need that, Bob.
Another look from on board Paul Romine's machine.
Notice you do not see Don Lampas at any time. Romine wins.
There's the old Paul Romine.
Shoot, man. What did it run?
Doesn't matter what it ran. You left first. Do you feel better now?
I feel great. It's a good drag race. Right at the end, I kind of saw him as we as we went on past the finish, so I figured he was right there. And hey, man, you know, I tell you, it's our crew, and Ronnie Willis, our head man, he's home with a busted up leg. Ronnie, baby, this one's for you, and we're going to win this one for you.
Well, we'll see. Here is a man who was also sworn to win this one. This is Doug Herbert, number 2 in average reaction time in the class thus far this year, going up against David Bieneman.
And remember, Herbert also has a shot at this world championship, especially with Tommy Johnson out. Has not won here since 1993.
Red light start for Bieneman. Herbert is into the final.
485, no lane choice.
Yeah, well, that's the way it goes. This car was, I went way over to the right-hand side for some reason.
Yeah,
the car
so did
made
he.
a move, so, oh, well, that's okay. He knows what he's doing.
Yeah. He also went red, if you didn't know. Took you serious.
Yeah.
Had to.
Well, hey, Snap-on tools, all I got to say is we're happy to be here.
Is lane choice going to be a problem? Have you noticed any difference?
Well, mine ran 81 in that left lane, so probably not a psychological thing, maybe more than anything, I guess.
Nah, you don't let psychological stuff bother you.
We'll let it mess him up, though.
It's going to be a great Top Fuel final. Coming up next, however, Top Fuel Harley. Stay with us. Back at Norwalk Raceway Park, you're looking at Houston, Texas Harley-Davidson dealer Johnny Mancuso, the points leader in the Screaming Eagle Top Fuel Harley division on the IHRA Trail. He'll be going up against Brentwood, Ohio's home state favorite, Bob Spina.
Now, this is the number 1 and 4 qualifiers, but the race is going to be a lot closer than that. Listen carefully. Mancuso ran a 6.75 in the most previous round. Bob Spina ran a 6.74. This is going to be probably the best drag race with these two-wheel top fuel burners today.
Burning nitromethane. They only rev the engines to about 4,500 RPM, and they shift by feel. No tach to read.
Incredible, about 600 horsepower they develop out of only 2 cylinders that come out to be about 160 cubic inches, and they're sitting right on top of that thing.
Great launch for both riders. Slight advantage for Mancuso, and it looks like he'll take it to the finish.
Mancuso barely pulls it out, 6.79, but listen to this, Bob Spina, 6.77. Mancuso won it right off the starting line.
Now to our next pair, a couple of engine builders. Jim McClure came up with the overkill engine that many of these riders use. He's going up against Bill Firm.
And Bill Firm breaks. It could be a belt. You know, they run a belt for drive, not for a blower on these Harleys, and it takes a lot of stress and abuse. Jim McClure in there with a 6.76.
So in our Top Fuel Harley final, it'll be Mancuso against McClure. Lane choice by 3/100ths of a second goes to McClure. Now to the semifinals of Mountain Motor Pro Stock. Our first pair, Angelo Alessi in the black Chevy in the far lane against Ron Miller.
Alessi, a hole shot, puts a gate job on Miller, 4.79 reaction time. Let's see if Ron Miller has enough horsepower. No, Angelo Alessi wins it off the starting line, 6.79, 203 miles per hour in a big upset.
So Angelo Alessi moves into the final. Let's find out now who we will meet as the crew backs away from the Oldsmobile of Tony Gillick, going up against the Ford of Chris Holbrook.
Chris Holbrook, sponsored by Stu Evans Motorsports. The 1997 Pro 812 cubic inches of John Causey motor. Chris Holbrook a little late off the line. However, he pulls it out with a 6.77. Look at the speed, 207 miles per hour for a Pro Stocker. That's incredible.
Lane choice will go to Holbrook in the final. Stay with us for more from Norwalk. All right, thank you, Brett. As we move to the semifinals of Alcohol Funny Car, why is former world champ Von Smith moving so slowly? Because his opponent, Wayne Butler, could not answer the bell.
You know, with Scott Wise out of the way and Mark Thomas out of the way, this is a big break for Von Smith. Fred Tigas, he's living the dream. A Cinderella story here.
And he is also going slowly because he has a solo. Herb Rogers from Ontario could not come to the line. So it'll be Von Smith against Fred Tigas in the finals of Alcohol Funny Car, and hopefully they will both be there. Now to Pro Modified semifinals. Our first pair, Shannon Jenkins going up against Landon Jordan.
Shannon Jenkins won this event in 1996. Landon Jordan, the newcomer here, puts a gate job on Jenkins. A 4:15 reaction time, but it's Shannon Jenkins wire to wire. 6:47. He came through when the chips were down.
Shannon Jenkins, number 2 in average ET in the class thus far this season. No surprise that he was able to drive around. And here comes number 1 in average ET, Scotty Cannon, going up against this guy, Carl Moyer.
An upset-minded Carl Moyer, mind you. Scotty Cannon, the only blown car, still in competition. 42 Pro Modifieds came to qualify. Only the quickest 16, of course, get to go. 3 of those Pro Mods were blown. Now we're down to Scotty with a killer red tomato. But boy, is Scotty running. Carl Moyer will need a big hole shot if he's going to kill the killer red Mater.
And it isn't there for him. Scotty Cannon out first by 17 one-thousandths of a second. And now mechanical problems for Moyer. Cannon moves into the final.
Scotty Cannon will be facing Shannon Jenkins. It'll be a race. Let's go to top end with Brett.
Just for people who didn't see it, can you believe it? Scotty Cannon on the web? Scotty Cannon on the web?
What's that mean?
What does that mean? Yeah. Are you really? Do you have a website now?
Yeah.
You're turning into high tech,
I don't have
buddy.
my computer. I don't know how to work it. I just got it. I just pay for it.
All right, the bad news, no lane choice.
I don't think it matters. I hurt my best piece, though, so.
You did hurt your best engine?
Yeah.
On this run?
The run before.
The previous run?
Yeah, we got a match race, that old slow thing in there.
Well, the old slow thing is 500s behind Shannon. And he hasn't really touched the third system yet, I don't think.
Well, he might better get at it, because I'm getting at mine.
I'm with you there, Scotty. Here's a look at the Quarter Mile Clothing Company, the infield general store with something for every race fan. Pay it a visit when you come to Norwalk Raceway Park. Stay with us. Welcome back to Norwalk Raceway Park, continuing with the World National Sportsman Racing on the IHRA Trail. Semifinals of Super Eliminator. Our first pair, Dave Price from Norwalk, Ohio in the far lane. Scott Ray from Madison, Ohio in the near.
Scott Ray looks kind of like Paul Romine, the top fueler. Well, he also has a sponsorship from CarQuest. Has problems there coming off the pad. Dave Price will waltz into another final. This guy has been incredible this year.
Well, we'll see who he will meet in that final as we go to our next pair in the far lane. That beautiful 32 Bantam for Terry Monroe against Dan Bandish.
Remember, we told you Dave Price was not #1 qualifier. It was Dan Bandish who qualified with a 6:20. Had everybody wondering, but look at Terry Monroe, the Beaver, Pennsylvania 32 Bantam marches into the final. Consider that's a short wheelbase car, ill handling. He has really got that thing set up for this track.
Terry Monroe did it again, slower off the line, but drove around his opponent. The final lane choice by 2 one-thousandths of a second goes to Dave Price over Terry Monroe.
10,000, and they with a loss of maybe 2 or 3 tenths of a second.
Back at Norwalk Raceway Park in the World Nationals. The Top Fuel dragsters will be rolling into the staging lane soon as Paul Romine attempts to capture the points lead. Here's Brett Kepner.
Well, gentlemen, that's a crew that is definitely driven. But standing outside of that thrash is indeed a driver who may actually be back to driving. I don't care what you say publicly, there was something different about Paul Romine the last couple of rounds that you've run this car. What was going on in your head?
I don't know. I mean, we're just focused. You know, we're getting all this stupid stuff behind us, and we're just focused. And I've been playing catch up with the car all year. I mean, the car's always been strong, and now it's time for me to step up. So I'm taking a ball.
You had already admitted that you brought in Roy Hill for a little help on the starting line. And lapses of concentration happened to every drag racer everywhere. But something just happened in this last round that brought you back. Something clicked.
Well, we're driven. I'm not kidding. We got to get this thing done, and it's the talking part's over, and I'm tired of talking about it. We want to show them.
I'm trying to read between the lines here, and I swear what you're telling me is you were thinking too much.
You know, you just get caught up into this thing. It's a crazy sport. We still, are trying to have as much fun as we can, and we still do. But, guys, I tell you, we do a lot of stuff. We do a lot of appearances. We talk to a lot of our sponsors, and God love them. We need them, and we love them, and they're good to us. But, we got to get back to the thing that we're here for, and that's drag racing. And I got to tell you, that's one thing that's cool about having Clayton around, because Clayton is an old drag racer. He did this long before anybody had their name on the side of the car. He was always doing it out of his back pocket, and he don't care about all that stuff. I mean, he certainly wants to go racing. He knows what it takes to do it in big-time auto racing.
But obviously, Clayton has to understand that if he's not worrying about it, it's going to take a toll on the guy that is.
Well, yeah, that's true, but we got a great arrangement, so it's okay.
Back at the World Nationals moments ago, Top Fuel racer Paul Romine talked about how a busy schedule can detract from your performance. Rick Kepner has the story of a four-time world champ.
It's been a heck of a year at IHRA Top Fuel Drag Racing. Whether you're talking about Tommy Johnson's early season dominance or Paul Romine's resurgence, it has been entertaining. But there's been a forgotten name, and it's probably the single most dominant name in IHRA racing. Doug Herbert and the Snap-on Tools Top Fuel Dragster, who, let's face it, owned this category for so many years now that his name is synonymous with IHRA dragsters. But one thing is certain, Doug Herbert maintains one of the single most difficult schedules in all of drag racing. Now, we've seen him in IHRA competition in virtually every scenario. On fire, on three wheels, on a charge to another victory with another low elapsed time pass. But this year, we've seen Doug Herbert try to do that in two different racing associations and do it full-time, non-stop, over 50 events this season. That's something that most people agree cannot continue. It will drive any team owner into the ground. That's why we approached Doug here at the World Nationals to ask what he might have in mind for 1999 when it is pretty definite that he can't keep this pace up. you're one of the last human beings, if not the single last human being that races both associations. I don't think you can probably keep it up much longer, do you?
I don't know. It's getting pretty tough. The races are overlapping more and more, and luckily we've got Jim Bailey. We're going to turn our number 2 car operation into a championship contending team, and probably run that full time next year. And maybe our Doug Herbert car is going to go and maybe run some of the races that make sense to run.
Does that mean Bailey will stay as the number 1 driver on the IHRA side?
That's what it's looking more like.
I mean, let's face it, he outqualified you with a car with no computer.
I can't believe it. Bailey whipped us. He's a good guy, and no matter what happens, I mean, I'll still be going to the IHRA races and helping work on that car, helping tune the car, and it'd just be a matter of letting us concentrate on what we need to do. What we need to do is win championships. We need to go win 2 championships, and with the way the schedule is, it's going to be impossible for one person to win 2 championships.
But you will obviously still field a car for both.
Exactly. Well, one person will win both championships, me. Even though if I won't be driving both cars.
Still Doug Herbert racing.
Yeah, we're going to go after winning both championships. Snap-on wants to win world championships. I want to win both championships. Jim Bailey wants to win championships. So
everybody's happy.
That's right.
Doug Herbert's association with Snap-on Tools has brought a tremendous amount of exposure to both. And as he just pointed out, his appearances at IHRA races and the obvious visibility of Snap-on will not soon disappear. Whether or not Doug Herbert runs every single race on the Tour next year remains to be seen. He's the kind of guy who likes to change his mind. But we know that Jim Bailey will at least be bearing the flag of Snap-on in 1999. And maybe we'll see this 2-car domination tactic continue a little bit next year.
All right, thanks, Brett. Can add one footnote to that story. Doug Herbert also runs a full-time performance parts business in addition to his racing. It's happy hour now here at NRP. Our first final, Mountain Motored Pro Stock. Angelo Alesi right there in that black 97 Monte Carlo against Chris Holbrook in a 97 Ford Probe.
The dream matchup that all promoters want. It's a Monte Carlo Chevrolet against a Ford. Chris Holbrook, who qualified number 2 with the Stu Evans Lincoln Mercury entry right here, has to be the favorite. He's been running great ETs. Chris Holbrook pushed it too hard, turned on the red light. Let's see what he can do anyway. Oh, he wastes a 677. Angelo Alesi wins with a 679.
At 204 miles per hour.
Unbelievable. I had no idea. My cord fell out of my headset. I'm like, will somebody please talk to me? I was like, what? Holy cow.
Now let's forget about the other car and concentrate on this one. And like I said, in front of the hometown fans, you at least came back at the right time.
Norwalk, thank you very much. IHRA, Norwalk Raceway Park, you're the best. Thank you for everything.
All right, congratulations to Angelo Alesi as we move now to the Alcohol Funny Car Final. There is Vaughn Smith out of Oak Ridge, Tennessee, going up against Fred Tigas, a bit of a surprise finalist here out of Holbrook, Massachusetts.
I'll bet you no one is any more surprised than Fred Tigas to get into this final. I mean, he really had to get by some heavy hitters, especially Scott Wise, in order to do it. But his focus right now has to be that man, Vaughn Smith, the former IHRA world champion, who has all the experience and calm in the world to face Tigas in this final. The number 5 and 6 qualifiers, it's going to be a real drag race.
The top 3 qualifiers were all under 6 seconds. They are all gone as the advantage off the line goes to Vaughn Smith, and he drives away.
Vaughn Smith, 609, 229 miles per hour. Now that's the way you mix everything up with the points.
Isn't it amazing how everybody can talk and talk and talk about this dominating car, yet here's Vaughn Smith in another winner's circle?
That's great. I mean, it really is. Like I always have to say, Brett, I don't think Jesus Christ. He's with me all the time. Thanks, babe. I got to thank Hoosier Tires. I mean, they keep on working, guys.
This is something because...
I don't know why everybody's not catching on, but hey,
exactly.
That's fine.
You're the only one that's sticking with them, and they keep winning. You'd think everybody would have them.
It don't work for them, I guess. I don't know, but they should. There's nothing wrong with them. Tom Clee Tool, the cooler, of course, for coming on board this year. My dad, Howard Moon, of course, the whole crew, because they busted their butt again this weekend. The last thing was kind of funny, the semi-deal, right. But I don't know. We got together, and it's great, man.
Won a 609, by the way.
Yeah, that's not as good as we thought it would go. But
it was enough to win.
That's good enough.
Now, where does this put you in the points? Do you know?
About 4 or 5 ahead, 4 or 5 rounds ahead.
You are now in the points lead.
Yeah, definitely.
That's worth a big handshake.
Thanks, man. Appreciate
And that may eventually put the number 1 back on the car. Meanwhile, warming up that monster 6,000 horsepower engine, that's Doug Herbert. Top Fuel will be next. Sound of that supercharged engine tells you everything you need to know. The Super Eliminator Final, Terry Monroe against Dave Price. This should be a good one.
Dave Price, 706 cubic inches of big block Pontiac injected on nitrous oxide. Terry Monroe with a radical 32 Bantam, supercharged on alcohol. It'll be Price wired to wire. 625, 218 miles per hour as Monroe could not turn the number.
You can talk about near-perfect seasons, you can talk about dominance, you can talk about anything you want, but don't tell David Price that he didn't want to win this race worse than anyone ever.
Well, were we ready? I was on a chip, and he was just thinking about staging. This is great.
This is a big one. I mean, you put this whole thing together, basically.
Well, yeah, I think we did, and I'm glad for working, the sponsor, Mike Hitchcock, Mike Boss, my gang. Everybody's here. Heard the color commentator, didn't you? My grandson, Kevin, or Brandon, I mean.
Yep.
He's up there. Wife is really happy, Faith. Joe Skaggs, can't say enough for him. Mike Hitchcock's tuning this thing. I'm just driving, and I'm having a ball.
And you are just about unbeatable.
Put that hat on, right? Thanks very much. I appreciate it.
Great job.
Yeah.
Welcome back. Happy Hour continues. The Prolong Super Lubricants Ohio Lottery World Nationals presented by Ethanol. Bob Marsh and Ted Jones with you. There is Shannon Jenkins, world champion in the Pro Mod division, going up against the killer red mater of former 5-time world champion Scotty Cannon.
This is the matchup the way it should be, the number 1 and 2 qualifier against each other, but more importantly, it's a Willys against a Studebaker. Bob Wink, could you ever say that in drag racing? Only in Pro Modified with the nostalgia cars can you make that claim. For power, a Pontiac nitrous injected against a blown Chevrolet.
Remember, Scotty Cannon said he does not have his best bullet in the car.
Shannon Jenkins a whole shot, 469. Scotty Cannon is in big trouble. Shannon pulls away. Shannon Jenkins, 645, 216 miles per hour. The mater is smashed.
But you said you didn't stand a chance.
Well, you know, you got to be optimistic. What we run?
45 to his 54. I don't think you touched that button, did you?
Well, we touched a little bit, but I didn't see him. We let it go.
Yeah. Unbelievable.
I can't believe we got him, but hey, some days it's your day. Day was ours.
Hey, you ran the second quickest nitrous car elapsed time of all time at this event. You went 219 miles an hour. This thing is right there with the quickest ever.
Well, I mean, we've been working on it. We hadn't been able to apply it. This weekend we were able to do that, and we got it. We're just glad to be here.
Boy, he really gets excited. I mean, I don't know how that guy keeps his cool, Bob.
Hate to see it when Shannon Jenkins does get optimistic. There's Johnny Mancuso warming up his 95 Harley, 157 cubic inches, going up against Jim McClure, Houston, Texas against Williamsburg, Virginia.
Now, everybody figures Johnny Mancuso, the number 1 qualifier, the points leader, will take this win easily. But remember, Jim McClure ran a 676 to Mancuso's 79 in the most previous round. Believe me, he's in it. And Jim McClure has run 207 miles per hour here this weekend.
Saw dark clouds off the end of the drag strip. We may have a weather change here. We'll see how it affects everybody. Well, it doesn't matter. Mancuso will walk.
If you want to call 680 at 200 miles per hour, a walk.
Sometimes you just got to look at the driver and just tell him either do it right or you're fired.
But you did it right.
Thank you.
Unbelievable string. If I dare say, probably, as far as the number of times you did it, the most incredible string in Fuel Harley history.
Thank you very much. Boy, Mancuso Harley David's going to like this one here. Johnny Mancuso likes this one. Woo!
And now we have one final remaining, perhaps the most important of all, Top Fuel Dragster. There is Paul Romine, who wants to win this race. He already has taken over the points lead. The question is, by how much will he lead Tommy Johnson Jr. when day is done? On the other half of the draw, Doug Herbert, who said straight up when we asked him at the beginning of the day, I am going to win this race and show these guys why I'm a 4-time world champion.
You got that right, Bobby. Qualified number 6 shouldn't even be here in the final, except he is Doug Herbert. Remember, if Herbert can win right here, he starts moving in and pauses a little bit of a threat to that point shakeup.
There's the view from the rear wing of Romine's car. In the near lane is Herbert.
Both cars staging oh so carefully. They're ready now. Romine off the line first, but then boils the hides instantly. Doug Herbert, now he blows the engine sky high. You saw the pieces in the blower, but look at him in the cockpit. He doesn't care, fans. He is happy. He has won this event, wasted a motor doing it. But believe me, when you're behind the wheel, all you can see is win at any cost.
These cars cost over $10,000 per pass, and that's when you don't hurt the parts that Doug Herbert just did. Here's the problem for Romine.
And problems for Doug Herbert as we look at that tremendous engine explosion one more time. The blower belt going at least 50 feet in the air. Parts starting to come off the motor. Guess what? Herbert doesn't care. There's the oil pan. Look at this now, falling out underneath the slick.
I have seen you blow some stuff up, but I presume you took Mr. Romine pretty darn serious.
Well, of course, I told you. We're not messing around. We're here for one reason, that's to win.
There is nothing left of that thing. I can't believe the heads are still on it, but there's nothing left at the top.
We didn't blow a tire out.
That's
We
true.
didn't flip it over.
But look at the gash in there. Look at the gash in that one tire.
You know, I don't care. I don't care.
All I can say is he lit the tires immediately. You lit them down track, but you obviously never lifted. And it doesn't matter because all you did was win again.
Oh, we're here to win for Snap-on, and I'll tell you what, I felt it spin the tires about 800 feet, and I was pulling on the brake, but the problem is when it's that far down track, there's just nothing you can do, so I'm hanging on. Come on, Romine, don't bash me.
Welcome to the Doug Herbert Show.
I was throwing stuff at him.
Welcome to the Doug Herbert Show. Catch on fire, win a trophy.
That's it.
And with that, let's take a look at the points for all the pro categories, beginning first of all with Top Fuel Eliminator. With his runner-up finish here today, Paul Romine with a very slim lead. Tommy Johnson a long way from out of it. Doug Herbert threatening. In Pro Modified, what can we say? It's about over. Even though Scotty Cannon settled for runner-up, Shannon Jenkins doesn't have a shot. In Pro Stock, Ron Miller, the surprise leader, the pizza man in second place. And in Alcohol Funny Car, Vaughn Smith with a very comfortable lead. Where is Scott Wise all the way down in number 5. In Harley Davidson's, Johnny Mancuso lengthened that lead. Bill Furr is in striking distance.
3 national events remain in the 1998 Snap-on Tools season. Only 2 for the top fuelers. Our next stop will be Epping, New Hampshire. Be sure to join us for that. Until then, I'm Bob Barsha for Ted Jones and Brett Kepner. Thanks for being with us. So long from Norwalk Raceway Park in Norwalk, Ohio. Stock Eliminator Final. Pete Biondo from Clarksburg, New Jersey against Steve Lucas from Baltimore, Ohio.
So Steve Lucas turns on the red line right off the starting line for the 69 Roadrunner. Peter Biondo, 76 Cutlass, will win his first ever IHRA event. He's done very well in NHRA. Now he has an IHRA trophy to put with it.
I'm wondering if there's a sportsman drag racer in the country that doesn't know this face. Unbelievable job now in IHRA as well.
Thanks a lot, Brett. I really appreciate it. I come over here to have a good time on my way to Indy and racing with my buddies Anthony Bertozzi and Melinda Bertozzi, and it ends up great. I'm real happy right now.
I mean, let's face it, you are one of the toughest drag racers that ever sat in a race car, but did you find it any tougher over here?
It seems like it's about the same over here. You just got to have your whole program together and have a little luck. And I definitely had a little luck today, and I had my program when I needed it.
That sums up the way you succeed in sportsman drag racing as we move to the Superstock Final, pitting Dan Northrup from Doylestown, Pennsylvania against Robert Bullard from Whiteville, North Carolina.
Dan Northrup is the hero right now of Bertozzi. Why? He's the guy that stopped Donna Morris. Meanwhile, Bullard stopped T.C. Morris to get to the final. Give the win to Dan Northrup as Bullard broke it out, a 58 on a 59.
Dude, what do you think? Yeah, we won a national event. Oh, my God.
Biondo and Northrup together are usually a pretty scary gang, but let's face it, if you have never had a more bizarre day of drag racing, you won most of the drag races on hole shots.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, in the beginning, I had a little luck, you know what I mean? But it takes luck in this sport. In the beginning, I had it, but then at the end, when it counted, I was driving good, man.
Every time you were driving good. That's what I mean. You were on the tree all day long, regardless of what the car did.
Yeah, it was working, man. I can't tell you.
We move on to the Super Rod final. From Buckley, Washington, Mike Federer taking on Jimmy Waters from Hickory, North Carolina.
126 Super Rod entries is what they started out with here, and it's down to these two finalists, the number 3 and the number 20 qualifiers. Give the start line advantage to Waters, but it's going to be Federer, a 91 on a 90, 138 miles per hour for the Pennzoil car.
Oh, boy.
There's nothing wrong with these 8-round races in one day.
No big deal, huh? When you got Pennzoil in a motor, what the heck? No problem.
Doesn't appear to have been.
Now, I want to thank all the Pennzoil people, some real good friends of mine, Bruno and Bruno Jr. Mazel from BRT Transmission. They helped me here the last, I don't know, dozen rounds or so. And I'm wore out. This was great.
But another big one for you, a handshake for you, sir, and the trophy.
Thank you.
To the Quick Rod final now. Ron Erks from Portage Lakes, Ohio against Rock Haas from White Lake, Michigan.
You think Super Rod was tough? 111 entries here in Quick Rod this weekend, and these two guys have boiled it down to this final. Side by side, nearly equal reaction time. Oh, Rock Haas breaks it out, an 88 on a 90.
You know it.
This guy has been on such a rampage through the Midwest this year. It has been incredible. You got to admit, this is a dream season so far, my friend.
This is a dream come true. Thanks, Mike.
Get a handshake from Mike Federer.
Yeah,
that pretty much
good.
says you're doing good.
Yeah, we hit a lot of the big money bracket races, and it's tough to get the recognition for that. This is something that us big money bracket racers, we really strive to a couple times a year go out, and I've wanted one of these little men for a long time. Rich Matty stole my good buddy Rich Matty. He stole a couple of these from me now, and this one's mine. This one's going on the shelf.
As well it should as we move to the Hot Rod final. Matt Rep from Kemar, Maryland against Billy Italio from Knoxville, Tennessee.
The toughest category this weekend, 132 entries. How many total entries this weekend? 974, an all-time high for IHRA. Billy Italio, one of the top runners in the International Hot Rod Association. Believe me, he is very grateful to bring that little 355 powered Chevrolet into the winner's circle. Breaks it out to least 89 on a 90. Rep 88 on a 90.
For all the years this guy has traveled, and for all the races he has attended, and for all the races he has won, this is the enthusiasm he shows after every round. Billy Italio probably has a better time drag racing than just about anybody out there.
For this race.
Why? What was different?
8-round race. The guy just had 2 buys. I didn't even get one. I had to work my. This little thing runs good.
But that's just it. I mean, you were probably racking up more round wins than you've ever had in your life this year.
Yes, definitely. And I love every bit
and
of it.
by the way, you just made your final round ratio, I believe, 50%. I think it's now 4-4.
Cool. That's good. That's good.
No question. If you're going to get to the final, you might as well win it. Modified eliminator now. Jerry Harris from Oxford, Alabama against Dennis Mitchell from Huntsville, Alabama.
And a red light start for Jerry Harris. You know, that'll give the win to Dennis Mitchell. This guy used to dominate in Modified Eliminator. Now running that fierce D-Alder to 92 Chevrolet Cavalier. Loves those high-winded small blocks. Congratulations, Dennis.
Ladies and gentlemen, you've met him already before, but that was back in his 25th final. This, his 26th, third of the year, I think may have just wrapped up your world championship again.
Well, we sure hope so.
It has to be close, right?
It's got to be pretty close, I guess. But you know, we can't really say that right yet. But we feel pretty good about it.
So Dave Price remains undefeated on national TV as we move to the top sportsman final for the full-bodied machines. Gary Bingham from Kings Mountain, North Carolina against Ray Livingston from Point Pleasant, Wisconsin.
Have to give the favorite edge here to Gary Bingham, who is a driving genius in top sportsman. Not right now, though. Livingston with a 500 light. Bingham's in big trouble. Down at the finish line, a guessing job. Oh, double breakout. Livingston breaks out the lead, 23 on a 24.
Ladies and gentlemen, this could have been the toughest drag race of top sportsmen today. I know Gary Bingham was more concerned about this man than any other, and I know you probably had to be worried about Gary Bingham.
Gary Bingham's the best in the sport, and his record shows it.
What was the delay box set for in the final?
00 and dead on. I don't know what it went, but I hope it was
If
good.
you are serious that you actually had the delay box set for 500, which is just about unheard of, I want to shake your hand. 500 reaction time.
That's what we know. We'd have to have a good one to beat Gary. He went dead on last pass. That's what
Nobody sets it up for a 500, buddy.
Sometimes you got to.
Now, Bingham was number 2 in points. You were number 3. Where does this put you?
Hopefully number 2. I don't know. I was a good bit behind because we'd missed some races early, but
gives you a shot, though, doesn't it?
Gives us a shot. Yeah.
If you set it up for a 500, you're the first man I've ever talked to that said it and did it. Unbelievable.
And it worked.
All that means is he counted on himself to have a perfect reaction time, and he did it. Final, top dragster as Bob Safranek from Avon Lake, Ohio takes on Karen Haddock from Charlotte, North Carolina.
Now, most of you may think this is a man versus woman battle, but I look at it as a Ford versus Chevrolet. Big block against small block. Karen Haddock supercharged. Small block against Bob Safranek. 698 Ford. Give the starting line advantage to Safranek. 517 light. Safranek all the way through dials of 90. Run the 703, 171.
And Safranek wins 703 on a 690.
The man, look on this man's face should be unbelievable. Because not only is it his first national event win, but you did it at the track you raced at ever since you started.
I'm telling you, I started here 20 years ago, and I love it. I mean, it couldn't have happened at a better place. I'd like to really say thanks to Max Sherrill for giving me the chance to drive his car, for Bruno Massell, who helped us out a whole bunch with the transmission, John Kazi Motors. I mean, the guys at Kazi's are great, Charlie Taylor, and there's one thing I got to say. To my little buddy Garrett, you don't have to cry for this one. He cried at the runner-up in Cordova. You don't have to cry, buddy. Thank you.
I think this may be one of the first wins ever for a Ford in Top Dragster.
Good. I'm glad. And it's a John Kazi motor. Gary Reese car.
You know, something people don't realize. We talk about John Kazi's dominance of Pro Stock and other types of Ford engine building. People don't realize John Kazi grew up at this track, too.
John Kazi, Carl Baker, Ronnie Baker. The boys are a gang. And I'm in it. I love it.
You are definitely in it now because you got one of them.
I needed this.
Well, let's take a look at the points. And as we look at the points, we want to remind you there's only one WCS event that stands for World Championship Series. There's a regional events remaining. That'll be coming up in Kinston, North Carolina. That's very important. Then there are 3 IHRA national events remaining. We'll be at the next one in Epping, New Hampshire. A lot of things can happen over the next couple of months before the world champions are decided on the International Hot Rod Association Snap-on Tools Championship Sportsman Trail, Bob.
No question about it. This one is long from over in all of our sportsman classes. Our next stop, as Ted mentioned, will be the North American Nationals at Epping, New Hampshire. So be sure to join us for that. Another typical racing weekend here at Norwalk Raceway Park with something for everyone. Our thanks to Bill Bader and his staff for a great weekend. Ted, we often talk about the IHRA sportsman racers as being family. Well, we've got plenty of family feuds to referee before this one winds up.
And those family feuds were further confused by some of the NHRA stars coming in to pick up a couple wins. We may have some local heroes up at New England Dragway who will further confuse the point at our next stop for the sportsman on the IHRA Trail.
Congratulations to all of our winners here at Norwalk Raceway Park under very challenging conditions. The biggest field of sportsman racers ever in IHRA competition, and it was worth watching. I'm Bob Barsha for Ted Jones and Brett Kepner. So long from Norwalk, Ohio.